What's going on, guys? It's Tyler. Wanted to go over some brief tips today before you apply for a government, specifically home loan. Again, this will apply to a conventional loan as well, but government loans, we've talked about before, are a little more strict on certain aspects. So these are some things to kind of think about before you apply. Put yourself in the right position, just so one, you know what you're getting into. Going into it, you're in the best position. And you kind of have an idea of what you might be able to apply for and what you're going to be able to qualify for and kind of things like that. So start right from the top, look into your credit. And we've talked about this before. You want to know where you stand as far as your credit scores. So the two different sites that I recommend would be something to look at your full credit report, not just a superficial, list of you have these, amount of accounts with this sort of utilization, and things like that. So you want to get your full actual credit report. You could pay for it, through some of the credit bureaus directly, Experian, TransUnion, Equifax, but you are legally allowed as a citizen of the United States to get a full credit report once a year from each of the credit bureaus. Again, this is a government act that was enacted after the mortgage crisis, where they mostly wanted people to know if you were having identity theft and things like that, and be able to track your credit, know what's going on, see if there's things that aren't correct on there, and you can dispute them and things like that. So it's called annualcreditreport.com. I talked about this before. I'll link it down below. Again, you have to go through a few steps usually. Some bureaus are easier to get than others. Some of them put more information in. I believe one of them even wants to mail you the information as opposed to just pulling it up online. A couple of them are easy. You can just pull up the PDF of it and review it. So annualcreditreport.com, again, I'll link that down below. Look at each of the credit bureaus. See what's on there. Maybe there's some old medical bill from 5 years ago you didn't even know about. And you can go and dispute or pay it or whatever you need to do to get rid of it. It just gives you a better idea of the situation. The other one would be to actually see your credit score. So a lot of the free credit sites, again, are going to be a little different as far as what score you're going to see versus what a lender, mortgage officer, or even if you were applying for an auto loan or something different, will see. So Credit Karma, Credit Sesame, Credit Wise are all different applications. A lot of them will go through your credit card. Capital One, I think, is Credit Wise. So they'll give you a free score. And again, a lot of the financial sites will too, and just give you a free Experian score, TransUnion score, or whatever it is. So Credit Karma is the one that is the largest, very easy to use. I use it myself. Half the time, if someone calls in and tells me what they think their credit score is, it's from Credit Karma or it's from Credit Wise, but mostly it's Credit Karma, just because that's the biggest. It's all over the place, and it's very easy to use, and it's just kind of out there. So look at both. Credit Karma is going to give you the score, obviously, but it's going to give you an idea of what's affecting your score. Hey, you have 3 negative accounts. Do you want to dispute them? Do you want to look into them? What is the situation? You have this much utilization, and this is how it's affecting you. So it'll also give you some tips on how to boost that score. Again, pulling your full credit report isn't going to really give you an idea of how to boost your score. It's just going to give you everything that's on there. Again, your last 10 years of credit history, what the loan officer is going to see, is that what you're going to be looking at. Again, do a little research on it. Sometimes it's a little complicated to look at, but it will give you all the information you need to kind of get yourself going in the right direction. So once you've looked into your credit, the thing to think about is, just kind of prepare yourself. Is how are you paid? What type of borrower are you? How is your income kind of going to be calculated? Again, defer your loan officer a lot on this, but do some basic research. Are you on a salary where you make $50,000 a year? You get the same check, every other week or twice a month or once a month or whatever it is. Maybe you get some bonuses and things like that. Or are you an hourly employee where you get overtime, but you've only been there for 6 months, or maybe a little difficult for the loan officer to utilize that? Or are you self-employed, where they might need a year or 2 years of you being self-employed, filing taxes, showing your net income, your profit and loss and everything like that. or 1099 income, where your commissions, and you're kind of a contractor and things like that. So depending on your situation, you'll need more time at the job for the loan officer and underwriting to verify essentially your income. Or again, maybe you're paid based on tips and you net, very little on paper, but you get a bunch of money in tips, but you don't put that in the bank, you don't put that on your taxes. You have to think about that sort of stuff, and that will obviously impact what you can be accrued for. So again, defer to your loan officer for the total calculations and things like that, but kind of have those wheels going in your head is, hey, I might have some issues because I'm a waitress, or I'm a server, and I haven't been claiming my tips over the last year. It might be something you want to start doing right away, or see if you can kind of go back, maybe amend some taxes or something like that, and prepare yourself to be reviewed, because that's what they're going to go off for your income. The biggest thing we run into that can really affect your process is assets. So you don't normally think about this, but if you had $5,000 in cash, a lot of people don't like putting money in the bank. Again, this may sound a little weird to some of the people watching this video, but a lot of people don't put money in the bank. They cash all their checks, they keep it in their sock drawer, they pay all their bills in cash, they've never had credit, or they have very, very little credit, just enough to qualify. And those people have a tough time getting these type of loans, mostly because, and it kind of comes down to anti-money laundering laws. They want to verify all the funds associated with the process. So even USDA, where you may have some closing costs you need, things like that, you want to make sure those funds are verifiable. But if you need a 3.5% down payment with FHA, or again, some other costs associated with a loan, a deposit, your inspections aren't as bad, but any money you're putting in the bank, they need to make sure it's verifiable. So what happens if you have $5,000 in cash at home, you don't really have any money in the bank? What it really comes down to is, in a simple sense, you kind of have to launder it. And again, that term sounds bad. Money laundering obviously is illegal, in the sense that you're taking illegal money and making it legal essentially. But that's the most simple term to describe it. Is you have a bunch of money in cash, what you'd want to do is use all that money as far as your spending money. Let all your checks go into the bank. Every check you're cashing from your payroll, again, even if you got a check from your grandmother for a gift or something like that, those funds are verifiable, but they are going to have to be sourced. You're going to have to get a letter of explanation, or why you have a $500 check from your grandmother as a Christmas present or birthday present, or it's an actual gift associated with the loan. Whatever it is, you have to source it. Typically, again, depends on the program, depends on the lender, anything over $100 needs to be verified. So again, your pay stubs, show you had a $1,500 payroll deposit on the 20th, or you deposited $250 cash. Cash is tough, but say you got a $250 check that you cashed, and then you put the money in. Again, there's ways around it, but the big thing is, if you have a large sum of money in cash, you need to be able to get that into the bank without just depositing it, because more than likely you wouldn't be able to just use it like that. So easiest way is use every penny that you can as far as spending money. Let all your verifiable assets, your gifts, your payroll deposits, things like that we know where they're coming from and we can source, let those go in the bank and try not to touch them best you can. So that's the easiest way around that, but definitely something to think about. Again, the biggest thing to take away from is every dollar that is going towards this loan, they need to know where it came from. If it's been sitting in your bank account and the loan officer doesn't see it being deposited, again, whatever they don't see doesn't hurt them essentially. So if they only need 2 months of bank statements, and 3 months ago you put $5,000 of cash in the bank, you're okay. So you have to think about that stuff ahead of time. If you have to do that, gonna have to wait a little while, or you're gonna need some way to verify and source that money associated with the loan. So really, if you follow these basic tips, you're going to be in the best possible position to move forward right away. Again, if you find a house right away, you're going to be able to make an offer and be confident about it. And again, the more you can show that you have everything else in line, the easier the loan process is going to be, the less likely there's going to be anything that's going to hold you up, throughout the process. Again, maybe something comes in a little bit higher, being prepared for something like that, or your credit being in a good spot. All those things are huge factors. So the more you can prepare for ahead of time, the better situation you're going to be in once you find the right house and you want to make an offer and get things moving. So if you found this helpful, if you have any other questions, regarding government loans or the loan process in general, your credit, things like that, leave me a comment below. I'll be happy to get back to you. Also, if you found this helpful, hit the like button and subscribe. I love making videos like this. These are the things I run through with clients every day. And the more prepared I can make people, the easier my job is, and the easier any loan officer's job is. So we want you to be prepared for the process ahead of time, just so we can all get deals done and get you into your new home. Hope to talk to you guys soon. You guys have a good day.